Hi, I'm Thomas and welcome back to Parts Arts. About a month ago, a creator on Instagram called Cherry Doughnuts proposed the idea of a My Little Pony Alicorn collab. I chose Nightmare Moon. For this doll, I decided I wanted her posed sitting on a moon like she does in the show. So I wanted her chest to be swiveled a little bit. But the original Generation 1 Monster High dolls don't have that, so I cut the chest in half and used an armature to spin her chest around and then filled that in with clay later on. I also shortened one of her legs so she can sit with one leg up on the crescent moon. Now onto the face. For my main inspiration for this doll, I wanted to use her cutie mark because I really enjoyed how her main skin was black but she had the purpley blue creeping up her back. So I decided to give this doll a vitiligo effect with a base color of pitch black and then a metallic blue for the speckles and the spots on her face. Next, I'm giving her extra long nails, and I learnt this from Hexagon's videos where you put the hand in the end of the hot glue gun and the hot glue makes a trail like the webs that you get when you use hot glue, and it makes a really sharp, long doll nail. After spraying the face with 2 coats of Mr. Super Clear, I started going in with my Arteza watercolour pencils. I started with a white colour because I wanted to make sure that the baseline would be visible on the doll's face. But disaster kind of struck where I was making her look too nice and I was giving her too big kind of doe eyes. So I decided to start again and I gave her more sharper siren looking eyes and brought everything in with a longer eyeliner and then big eyelashes to make her look a bit more evil. Here I'm building up the base of the eyes with a white acrylic paint because it's very difficult to draw with watercolor pencils right onto a black or a dark color because it just takes ages to show up and I'd end up using like a whole bottle of Mr. Super Clear. So I started with a white acrylic base so it's easier to work on. Here I've started building up the color with a deep green, but I'm starting to realize that it doesn't look quite right, and this is where I decide to change the overall shape of the eye. Here I'm filling in the sclera or the whites of the eye with white acrylic paint to build up that depth in the eye. Now, I'm not really sure what happened here, but I remember having a paintbrush, too much water on the paintbrush, paint going everywhere, and then I panicked and I started to try to save the doll's face, but the paint kind of ran all over and I had to wipe off the eye. But like I said before, it was a blessing in disguise because the eyes were looking too nice anyway, so I did manage to fix it and I'm happier with the new look than the one that got ruined. With this sharper, more scowling expression, I did decide to give her bigger, more rectangular irises and not give her pupils because I thought with such a small eye, you'd want the focus point to be on the colour and I didn't want to pull that away. Also, because her skin tone is like a pitch black, then surrounding the eye with pitch black and having the pitch on the inside as well, I think it would have looked a bit too samey and it could have pulled out the effect of the eye looking more realistic and made it look like it was just plastered on the doll. Here's the finished face. I'm actually really proud of this one and I think it's very effective. I did end up removing the jewel though because the horn that I give on her forehead ended up getting in the way and so did her helmet. Here's the horn I gave her. I wanted to make it really big and I gave it quite a curvature like a crescent moon and also like that one character, I'll put it on the screen. I thought that it matched pretty well. Here I am sectioning out the hair. I'm using a blue yarn with tinsel in it. And I don't know why, but for some reason my childhood iPod is the perfect size for sectioning out doll hair. So I just wrap it around that and it's the perfect length. I just brush this out with a pet comb and then I straighten it afterwards. I don't have that on camera because I was using a straightener and it's hot and I wanted to focus on that. Next, I'm moving on to the helmet. I wanted the helmet to be reminiscent of the helmet that Nightmare Moon has in the show, which it creeps along her face and down her nose, and I wanted to make sure that was portrayed in the doll. So I did lose a lot of the calico effect that I gave her, but I think it was worth it for the overall doll in the end. Also, I left a gap at the back on the top of her head because I wanted her hair to have a mohawk effect, because in the cartoon, the hair is like a galaxy and actually pours out of the top of her head, but it doesn't come out of anywhere else. So I thought it'd look good like that on the doll. Here's the finished helmet. I think it looks quite accurate to the character and it's quite smooth, and it looks so much better when it's painted as well. Here's the finished head with the hair in place. I'm not sure where it went, but while I was making this video, I lost the footage of gluing the hair down. But I made wefts and glued it down that way. Also, I made a ponytail effect, which you can go and see on Hexgen's video where he made Penelope pit stop, which I will link in the description. Now I'm working on the bodysuit armor. I say it's armor, but it's a little bit like cartoon and game armor, where it doesn't actually have any actual protection, but it just looks cool. So I'm working in with the lines that I drew on my original sketch and making sure to keep a kind of astral theme with lots of spikes, and I made a rim around the edge of all of the pieces so that they look skin tight, but then I can also paint the edges with my accent color when I'm done. Also, this armor and everything else you're seeing sculpting wise from now on is all done with air dry clay, because halfway through this project I ran out of my epoxy sculpt, so I'm gonna have to buy more of that. But yeah, so air dry clay from now on. So I'm using the DOS paper clay that I got from the Works, and it's a good clay to use for general sculpting, but for doll sculpting it's not very good because it pops off. So for good measure, whenever they popped off, I glued them on with Elmer's glue, and then I went around with more PVA glue over the whole thing to just make sure it was properly secured on the doll, because I didn't want it falling off in like a year's time or something, because that'd be really annoying to fix. So again, I lost the video of painting the body and the bodysuit because I did that in one clip, but it's disappeared. But I painted the body in the same calico effect that I did the face, and then for the bodysuit I went for a blue and silver color scheme, with blue being for the main pieces and then silver as that accent color around the rim, like I said I would do. I also painted the helmet the same blue, and then went around all of the edges of the helmet with silver. Also, the horn was painted black and was dry brushed with silver to make it look sparkly. To make the crescent moon, I started off with a cardboard cutout of the moon to the size that I wanted it, and then I started building up the bulk shape with tin foil. I ended up running out of tin foil and started using duct tape, and that was way better and held more of a shape, so I might end up doing that more because I have way too much duct tape from previous projects. Then I covered that crescent moon with air dry clay, and I think it looks really good, and I made it a little bit bumpy and didn't sand it out because I wanted it to look all bumpy like the craters that the moon has. Now I'm working on her crystal ball. I chose a picture from the internet of Twilight Sparkle and Celestia hugging because I kind of thought that she would have a bit of a vengeance for them and want to be watching them plotting her next plan. So with a resin hemisphere that I had, I cut around the characters and put them inside a resin globe with a small amount of blue and black glitter, and it looks very much cool. I am very much an amateur with resin, but what I found with the silicone hemisphere molds I have is that I like to blast them with a UV torch from above and underneath, because I don't know if this is how it works, I think it just helps cure it and disperse the resin quicker. Then I sandwiched the picture of Twilight and Celestia in between the two hemispheres. I chose very particularly which one I wanted on the front to see the different dispersions of glitter, and I chose the one with the less glitter in it to be on the front with the picture so that you can see them better. But it still has a distorted effect, which I think is very effective. I like it. Recently I bought Liquitex varnish, but I didn't get gloss, I got satin I think, and it's not the right one and it looks a bit bad, so even though it's on the doll right now you can't tell, so I'm putting on resin to give it a more glossy effect. Also, I put it on the eyes but then put another layer on the eyes in the pupils and the iris because I think it just gives it a more 3D effect and it makes them look more domed. Also with the lips, I put on the resin and it was too much and I took it off, and the way that I had taken it off looked really cool because it looks like she's wearing a very, very faint lip gloss, which I really liked. Make sure you go and check out the other incredible participants of this collab: Zoe Bird Customs, Golden Rose Dolls, Nope Dolls, Cherry Doughnuts, See the Doll, Jet Clementine, Thankyou, and Tiffany the Chaos Bringer. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to check out the creators on Instagram and like and subscribe. Turn on the notification bell, and in the comments tell me what was your favourite alicorn from My Little Pony. Thank you for watching and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!